Shalom, y'all. Shalom, shalom. It's Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat. We have a great show for you today. Today, what we're talking about is facing the truth. Um, uh, maybe a slightly better way to title the show might be facing difficult truths, or maybe even the uncomfortable truth. But the reality is it's the importance of being in truth, and the fact that you know in this society we just have a lot of feel good type things built in to our society that subtly and deceptively avoids us from being in truth. And you know, facing reality, facing truth, walking in truth, you know, it's not always an easy thing. Okay, standing on business, standing on principle. If you look at if you read through the Word, and um, as you read through the Word, you look at the men through the Word who stood on business, stood on truth, stood on principle. They made a lot of enemies. Jesus Christ being the first one, you know. Um, what this word, if I had to boil it down to an essential thing, uh, what this word does is, you know, it makes you face yourself. It makes you, it causes you to face. Let's break it down a little better. It causes you to have to face uncomfortable aspects about yourself. Okay, um, certain uncomfortable things about yourself. It causes you to have to face. And if you have a desire to truly grow and develop, then it will be a light unto your path. It will guide you. Uh, let me see if I have. I think I got a Bible verse. But yeah, this word will be a light unto your path. If if you're not truly trying to grow, the light is gonna blind you. It's gonna be very difficult to. You're gonna be like this to it when the truth comes. You know what I'm saying? When reality hits, it's gonna be painful. Um, so these are but it's the real deal. Let me see. Let me see what I got here. Uh, so one of the notes I wrote here is I've seen a lot of men who can't handle the reality. Um, you know, and this again ties in the truth, but men, women, saints, you name it, can't handle the reality uh, of knowing that they're not who they have, uh, basically who they think they are. When something comes and um, I'm not gonna say exposes, but when something comes and shows that their self they are what they call is an idealized self-image, an image of themselves that they have created, but hasn't been backed up, tried, or tested. When they find out something goes against that, they have a very difficult time processing it. Um, so the definition says an idealized self-image is a constructed, often unrealistic mental representation of how one wishes to be, okay? And this contrasts against one's actual self. So uh, these people, and all that is, that definition I just read there, all that is what the Bible calls the flesh. You know, that's just a kind of more broken down, but it, it, it it's this fake self that we put out there. You know what I'm saying? Often uh, they're constructed to avoid pain in some way, shape, or form. Um, a lot of times they're functioning off a spirit of rejection, fear, pride, uh, and you know those three are all intertwined with rejection being the foundation, I would say, of pretty much all spiritual dysfunction, because rejection is the absence of love. It's the opposite of love is rejection. So, um, but a lot of people in different ways, shapes, forms, they hinder themselves because they don't, they've been conditioned to not face reality in some way, shape, or form. This is where it comes where a lot of people just, they have these mechanisms that operate where they won't be corrected. They don't want to learn anything new. They don't want to be taught. Um, I'm telling you, this thing is interwoven, and it's at the core of a lot of uh, spiritual dysfunction, at the core of the carnal nature. Um, People hate facing themselves. And if you want to grow and you want to develop in this truth, that's the main thing. A lot of false religion has been created based on this simple fact or idea or whatever you want to call it, based on this. You know, a lot of things have been created that are not biblical in order to avoid people having to face themselves, face the truth about themselves, the uncomfortable, difficult truth. Okay? Um, and, you know, what I wrote here is people hate facing themselves. They are in league with their flesh. They identify with it and don't want to even look at it. It's like, and you watch people, they'll study that whole word, they'll be in so-called religion and everything, and just ever so elegantly navigate around self-development and growth. Um, I would say that's at the core of religiosity. Um, so what I put here is what a lot of it equates to is, you know, the avoidance of discomfort. People want it easy, um, but suffering is a part of this. First Peter chapter 2 verse 21, it says, "For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye that ye should. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. Hold on 1 second. There we go. So leaving us an example that we should follow his steps. Okay, so he he left us an example, and again, suffering is a part of it. And you know, it's let me read this. James 1. It says, well, we'll start at 2. James chapter 1 verse 2. It says, "My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing." So, we go through a lot of verses. One of the verses, couple of verses I like is "endure hardness as a good soldier." Another one I like is what's the other verse? Another verse is the Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, where it says, "Gold is tried in the fire, acceptable men in furnace of adversity." Spiritual growth and development only happens when you get in that furnace of adversity. And even that, let's get even more granular on that. What is the furnace of adversity? What are some examples of that? Going through situations that might cause negative emotions to arise, and not just mindlessly, without evaluation, and not just mindlessly giving yourself over to the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, but moving slow, thinking it out, letting the thoughts, feelings, and strong emotions, the strong, negative, uncomfortable emotions, giving them time to subside so you could think clearly. But if you are deceived, if in your mind, you, like I said, pride is the main killer. But if in your mind you just sit there and like, oh no, what I'm feeling is legit, and I'm running with it, and I'm not even gonna let myself calm down. If you're operating in that manner, hey, it's not gonna work. You're gonna miss it from the very beginning. So, uh, yeah. So, you know, um, that's that's the best way I could put it. Is the growth and the spiritual development is gonna be in. I mean, if you want to know where, in my opinion, where the trench warfare is at when it comes to spiritual growth and development, where you're gonna take ground on the front line and push the enemy back, is in the midst of strong and uncomfortable thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Facing that truth. Literally not reacting, but literally sitting there and thinking through it and not spazzing out, and, literally watching it and not getting swept away, and bringing it into captivity like the word says. Okay? Um, yeah. Let me see what else we got here. So what I wrote here is the importance of developing the ability to actually mentally check in with yourself, um, to be able to think about thinking and not just react off every thought, feeling, emotion that pops up, but actually watch the thought, feeling, emotion, impulse, watch it pop up and actually observe it and think about it. Make sure it's in alignment with the word. If it's not, bring it into captivity, into obedience to Christ. And when when is the time, one of the most critical times to be operating in this and doing this and to be truly spiritual, okay, is during frustration, when you're frustrated. Um, what I wrote here is let me see what else I have here. So that might be it. Let me see. I think I got that. Yeah. So you know, facing the truth. You know, not deluding yourself, not making excuses. You know, this is the path to growth and development. And you see people who deceive themselves over this stuff. They never grow. One of the telltale signs is a lack of spiritual development or growth. You know, arrested in their development. Is this year after, or is day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, they're the exact same, or better yet, they're backsliding. They're getting worse because you don't want to deal with this, or like they say, face the music, you know? Deal with this often difficult reality, especially initially when you haven't cultivated, when you've never cultivated the ability to actually look at yourself. Eventually, it doesn't stay painful. It's like this saying I saw. It says things either uh, when when difficult things are there, they either get weaker or you get stronger. One way or another, they don't stay as difficult. And that's the way it is with this. Eventually, you build that muscle of being able to observe yourself and pay attention to your thoughts, make sure they're in alignment with the word, and eventually it becomes a habit. It just becomes who you are. By what? By meditating on the word day and night, you know? Um, Eventually, when you feel a strong triggering emotion, I'm going to tell you what happens. Eventually, what happens is you'll feel a strong emotion, and because you've been working on it, observing it, cultivating it, studying the word about it, seeing where it's out of alignment, eventually you'll develop just a natural response. When you feel a strong emotion, you'll automatically, instead of it being a warning sign for you to give vent to it, it will trigger patience in you to where you're like, oh, let me sit back. Let me watch. Let me watch this thing. Let me watch how it dissolves. Let me see what's going on. And that's how it will happen. Um, so you can change, you know. Um, You have all the tools at hand right there in the Word. You can pray, you can fast, you can study the Word. Uh, if you should have your brothers and sisters around you, you can seek counsel. You know, there it the all the tools are there. I've watched a lot of people use the tools, proclaim the tools to be the uh, the work, the spiritual growth, development, solution. They act like the tools, them using the tools is what the growth is, but it's not. The tools are just that, the tools. But the tools, you have to use the tools to fix the problem. Just because you're using the tools doesn't mean the problem's fixed. You got to actually use the tools to fix the actual problem. And if you don't know how to analyze and see where the problem's at, you're just going to be using tools. Okay? So, um, so you got to really consider that. Um, and, take that into account. Let's see. I got anything else? Yeah, with that, that's it. And if you can, in the comments, put the struggles you've had. Uh, let me know. Have you utilized um, just observing yourself, observing your carnal nature, dying to self? Have you used that in your life? That said, I'm Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat, and shalom, shalom.